Hey, Desties and Bride friends. Hey, happy Desty hour. Today we are talking about the money bag, and I hope you guys are excited. I'm super excited about this one. I've got my questions, I've got my notes, and I also have the spreadsheet. So let me get set up. I'm gonna check and see what's going on. And yes, let's see. So. Pull up any comments. Hope everybody's weekends are going beautifully. Hope everybody's weeks are going beautifully. Yes, we are talking money. So I went through, I sent you guys, well, I showed you guys a picture of what I was doing. So the crazy thing is, I got married May 27th, 2017. It is 2020. And I am just now going through to kind of understand what we fully paid. I always say that we paid about 40,000, and actually I'm pretty on target for that. Well, somewhat. It's over for sure. I'm gonna go through the spreadsheet with you guys, but what we're gonna do, you guys submitted questions, so I'm kind of gonna do this backwards and answer the questions that I received first, because the spreadsheet kind of answers a lot of other questions as well. But feel free to do your usual, and as I go through, ask the questions. I'm literally going to pull up my spreadsheet. I have my MacBook right here, and I'm going to pull up the spreadsheet and um, let you guys know exactly what we had, what we did, and all that good stuff. So right at this moment, if you guys can see me, hear me, I can see there are people on, but can you just drop me a comment for me to test this and make sure I'm doing the right thing? Anything, say hi, your name, all that good stuff, and then we will get started. I think, guys, I'm going to figure this out for good one day. I promise it's going to happen. Let's see. Are you doing it? Uh-oh. It's doing that thing I did last time. So yeah, yeah. All right. Okay, good. Okay. Hey, Stephanie. Hey, Boo. Okay, good. Now I can see them. Thank you. I've got a hello, but I can't see who you are. But awesome. Okay, so I can see you, you can see me, and that means we can get set up. So, for starters, how many of you, well, just let me know if you already have your budget set or not. I'm going to go through everything from kind of like how we did it to things that we wish we would have done as well, and things that happened and popped up and all that good stuff. So this is like a really good one, and I'm going to take a sip and get into the questions first. So, um Nicole has hers set. Okay, good. Um who has their dress? Also, I know that Inez just got her gown. She posted in there, so congratulations to her. Let me know if you guys have your dresses as well, because that is the thing. So, like I said, if you just now hopping on, I'm going to answer a couple questions first, and then hop into my tips, and then do the spreadsheet, if that makes sense. Stephanie, not yet. Okay, cool. Stephanie, I don't, not yet. And Nicole, you do. Okay, yay. So the first question is a really easy one. Can you share the spreadsheet you use? I absolutely am going to share the spreadsheet I use. I will be going through that with you guys in a little bit. So yes. And I have a little treat for that one too. Other question is, are flowers really important if you have a very strict budget? So that is a no. Flowers are not the most important. I mean, they're if your budget is tight, flowers is definitely a space where you can save money. There are other things to do outside of flowers, be it you can just, instead of actually having flowers, you can maybe just do greenery instead. Or instead of full on flowers, then maybe do petals instead, because petals kind of are throwaways for a lot of florists. So try to do that instead. Or like Jamela, she did mirrors, or just kind of be creative and more fun with it. You can do candles instead. All of these things are much cheaper than flowers. And also, real flowers are way more expensive than artificial. Well, actually, it depends, because some artificial flowers can be really expensive. But consider artificial. There's a lot of things going on right now with they've come a long way. So think about that at the same time. Or just know, like, you were going to be getting married in a beautiful space. So don't worry about flowers. Flowers are not the absolute positive. It's one of those things where if there's something that you can cut, your floral budget is a thing. Now, I wouldn't even, in my mind, like for us, for our specific florist, that was somewhat of a splurge. We use Moni Junko. I'll drop a link for them specific, well, for her specifically, but she was a splurge moment for us. We thought we knew what our floral budget was, and then I also found her on Instagram, and she was magic, and I had to have her. And Joyce, our planner, was like, oh, okay, well, this is your budget, so this is who you could use. And the flowers just weren't up to par. So really, it was a not at all or blow the budget. And I would have much rather not have flowers at all than to have something that I'm just not really that happy with. Or we would have had to be more creative and play around with the type of florals that we did. So no, florals are not important if your budget is strict. No one's really, I'm not gonna say no one's paying attention, because people do pay attention. I've seen all these things where your guests don't care. Your guests care. They see it. Now, do they remember it? That's questionable. There's photos that are taken, but they're not 100% the whole thing. And that goes for all decor. Decor is about you. And yes, I was excited when I walked into the venue and was like, oh, that's exactly what I want. But floral, not 100% necessary. And then vendor fee hacks, I will talk about that as well. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I will check them here and there. But because of the way last week went with me chatting, and then spending all the time talking and not getting to all the questions, I'm just kind of trying to play with this and see the easiest ways to get you guys the most value and the most tips. So I will pay attention to the comments, but I'll also kind of just do my thing and then get to those as well. So just let me know if I ever say anything that you disagree with or do agree with, or have any additional tips for your bride friends, let them know, because the replays, people are watching them, and you guys' tips are helping too. So that's that. Now, for starters, I would say the number one question that I always get is, how much does a destination wedding cost? How much does a destination wedding cost? And that question is really truly whatever you can pay. And that is the answer. It can be $1,000. It can be $100,000. It depends on what you have. And I really and truly mean that. There's no one that can't have one. So I'm not going to try to BS you and answer this question in any real way. It's how much does it cost? It costs what you have. Now, how do you figure out what you can do? You figure out how much you can save in a certain amount of time. So start off by just picking a date. Now, I know you two specifically, Stephanie and Nicole, you ladies do have your dates already, but for anyone else who doesn't have a date yet, then definitely go, okay, let's just start off at the very least to get a venue and to get a resort. You're going to be a year out. That's kind of like the minimum with that. For us, we ended up we got engaged. Look, I'm so good at this. We were really sparky. We got engaged in 2015, and we decided to start planning in 2015 as well, and we got married in 2017. So believe I just asked this question and he said 20 months. So we saved, what we decided to actually do was save $500 each per month and added that in. Hey, I don't know why I can't. I'm sorry. See, I'm easily distracted. I can't see who you guys are. You guys have to agree to be seen or something. I don't know. But um what was I saying? See, this is how I got distracted last time. Okay. So we saved basically $1,000 a month for 20 months, and that was $20,000. Now our wedding, like I said, if you were paying, if you heard, it was $40,000. And how did we do that? Well, any additional money went there. One, we didn't take any additional vacations through that time. We didn't do Christmas gifts. We didn't, and that includes for other people. We didn't give gifts, and we didn't give them to each other. We also had our set. Well, I was gonna say, yeah. What else did we do? What's the word that I'm trying to? Oh, bonuses, tax refunds, all that kind of stuff went into the pot. And then at the very very end, there was some credit card usage that went on. So that's kind of like where and how we went through all of that. But figure out what you can do, and if you need more time, then add more time to that. Push your wedding date, um, if that's what you want to do, or just deal with what you have. Like it's just a destination wedding cost for a destination wedding cost. So to think things that you should be thinking about, your travel is very important. So all inclusive resorts tend to be the easiest. So think all inclusive. If you're thinking about your destination, you need to figure out like where you're getting, like how much it's going to cost you to get to the destination that you're choosing. So are you choosing Mexico? Are you choosing Dominican Republic? Are you choosing, or wherever? Like, are you choosing, well, we've got Italy, which, yes, some of everything right now. So wherever you're getting married, how much does it cost to get there at that time? You can literally just go into Delta right now and or whatever the airline, just go on to I was about to say, yeah, Travelocity or anywhere, and just figure out how much it costs to get there. And then once you start to find your resort, the ways of saving money, having an on resort wedding versus an off resort wedding off the rip is going to save you money. We chose, which is why it ended up being more expensive, we went off resort. We got married at Blue Venado Beach Club, but our guests and ourselves stayed at Secrets. So that's that. Then think about your necessary vendors first. So start to play around with it. The ones that you must have: your biggies, your photographer, your venue, of course, the planner. If off resort, if you're on resort, then your planner is built into your venue, which is built into your resort. Food and drink is important. I personally don't recommend cutting your food and drink budget. Well, specifically the drink budget. I think that you should have an um, full open bar. Personally, that's my vote with that. Aw, hey Ivory. Places that you can play around with, I'd say music. I'm learning personally. Like we did a DJ, and it depends on what works for you. But some people, be it you'll hear Erica, I think Jamela, the people, well, the Dusty Brides that were interviewed, you'll hear that they actually did use their phone and kind of hooked it up to a speaker, and that was a way of saving money instead of having a DJ. So you can kind of figure out what's most important to you. For beauty, personally, we hired Ivory to come and be hair and beauty across the board for the full weekend. That's a cost that needs to be associated. Now, and it's like figuring out, because if you're bringing your vendors, I've heard of people, you bringing your beauty pro, bringing your photographer, bringing your DJ. When you get into those bringing your vendor spaces, make sure that you're understanding that those are additional costs, and then kind of figuring out how it works. If they don't normally do destination, sometimes they want to do destination and want to get into that market, so they'd be willing to kind of barter. Like, okay, if you're paying for them for their room, then they'll give you the services. Or I have a friend who they did for their makeup. It was an up and coming vendor. So she, like, it was a makeup artist, and she's like new and she wanted to get into it, so it helps build her portfolio. And they like bought her airbrush machine so that way she can kind of play around and do it. And then she came and she did it, and that works out. So think about ways, like if you have friends or just people that you know, or you see someone who's up and coming in the town, see if you can kind of work some things out with them. That's a way of possibly saving also. And then things that you must have is an officiant. That's something that we didn't even think about, but you need an officiant, someone to perform your ceremony. So that was another thing too. Get a joint account. Please, please, please get a joint account. Let me know if you guys have joint accounts. That was one of the first things that we did. It's a great way of just starting to bring your family and your finances together. But to the $500 each that we saved, we automatically threw that into the account every single month. So are you guys doing this separately, or do you have joint accounts? Let me know. Aunt Dinky. Sorry. Hi. So hey guys. Shout out to Aunt Dinky, you guys. Hey Aunt Dinky. So get those joint accounts. At this point, especially what's going on, I mean, I feel like the coronavirus is a perfect example, but just things happen clearly. So travel insurance is something to not totally just say no to. It's only a couple $100, and for the sake of your whole trip, your whole wedding, it could be a really, really good idea to invest in travel insurance. So add that. We did not. Luckily for us, is that true? I'll have to ask about that. I don't think we did though, but at this point, I would absolutely do that and recommend that you do too. So if it's not too late, I recommend trying. If you haven't bought your flights, think about that. If you have a travel agent, just ask and see if you haven't done that yet. And let me know if you have TripAdvisor, if you have Trip insurance as well, travel insurance, because I feel like that's something that could be really, really helpful from now on. The other thing is adding padding. When we first started planning our wedding, we had a friend who was like, hey, you need to add like 25% to your budget because you think that you know what it's going to cost, but go ahead and add some more. And things did get out of hand. Well, I shouldn't say out of hand. They did. Things add up, or you don't really know how much stuff costs. So one of the biggest goals that I have with the show, and when I interview all the Desti brides and the pros, we talk about money, because the question is like, how much do these things cost? You see all of these weddings and you see the details, and they show photos and who did it, but how much did you pay for that? So that's what we talk about, and I'm hoping to continue that and keep passing that. So like I said, I'm going to go through the spreadsheet, but make sure that you do have a bit of padding involved, because things do come up that you're not really aware of. Hopefully not too many things, because I'm about to put you on to all types of stuff. And that is that. Now, a quick list of things that are skippable, and I'm just gonna go boom, 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 and run through that, because I don't want you guys, because I want to get through this spreadsheet too. So, really quick, Stephanie, our middle son is on SSDI. We can't save a large amount at a time. Any ideas on saving, or should I keep on spending as we get funds? I think that's SSI. Son is on SSI. I'm pretty sure. Any ideas on saving, or should I keep on spending as we get funds? I would still try to just figure out, even if it's a small amount to have saved, if it's $100 or even $50, something to be able to put on the side for the just in case. I think it'll help. It doesn't have to be large amounts, but at the same time, things kind of will work themselves out as they need to. So look back at your past expenses for the past, I don't know, year if you can, or at least like 3 to 6 months, and figure out where you've had any wiggle room. And even some people will end up, like I know people who's like got a second job, or I've interviewed brides who, like, the groom has gotten another job just to kind of supplement for the wedding. But kind of go through your expenses in the past to see what you have already done and what you can kind of change, and cut out some things. I'd say, like, love Christmas, but Christmas had to go, or Valentine's Day, or what's coming up, whatever it is. Like if you normally do some full annual something, a barbecue or a boxing match or whatever, that stuff, cut. Not this year, saving up. And if someone can't understand that, then you, yeah, you know how I feel about assholes. So we're gonna call them assholes because, oh well, you have a priority right now. So I think that probably would be the best way of working on a tight budget. Still set aside. One thing that I did to make myself save, because saving was not something that I was good at, and that was on a more personal, or well, I shouldn't tell you to cut your student loans because that's a bad idea. Okay, no, I'm not even gonna go there, but I am. So I don't. Just look at your expenses and see what you can kind of play with and where you can make things happen. That's what I'll say there. But as far as savings for me every single month manually going in and taking out a couple $100 and throwing it into savings would never in a million years happen. So I set up an automatic. You can set it up with your bank, you can set it up with your employer, however you want to do it. But every single month on this date, this amount of money. And if it's $50, if it's $100, whatever the amount is, have that come out automatically. What I also did was made it to where my savings account was not directly related or linked to my actual account. So we bank with PNC. So it was not with PNC, it was with the credit union on the other side of town with the worst hours in the world. So if I needed to get money out of there, it would take a lot of work, and it would make me think, do I really need to do this? Like, it's not really worth it if it's not that easy to get it out, if that makes sense. If it's the same account and it's just a matter of transferring, or you can just run right around the street, right around the corner to the bank really quick, then it's a little too easy for you. So make things more difficult for yourself as far as to hurt yourself. If you're really, really trying to do this, then, open up a cheaper, credit unions tend to be cheaper anyway. Open up an account somewhere and have set it automatic, and then you're not thinking about it. Now keep track of it, make sure that you are looking at your balances, but that's just an extra precaution. Let me know if that was helpful, or if I'm answering that the right way. But thank you for asking that. It's a good question. So things that are skippable. So first of all, your videographer. We've been to weddings that have videographers, and I get the whole idea with the videos with Instagram and all of that right now, but drones, you can hear those. Those are distracting. That's a whole thing. Like, I get that people are trying to go through all this with this huge team and you got a whole movie going on, but it can be distracting to your guests. I'm going to say that. And it's expensive at the same time too. And it could be a cost that can be cut. So that's a cuttable. Flowers, we talked about that. We talked about doing candles instead, or fruit is an option. Greenery, yeah, just being creative with that. Cut the DJ, we talked about that. Really any excessive decor, cut it. Stationery, invitations, programs, menus, save the dates. You don't have to have any of those things. So you do need to invite people, but this day and age, so there's Appy Couple. Appy Couple is, I talk about all the time, but it's the wedding website that we use, and I absolutely love them. And what they literally have an app, but you can input all of your guests, and then you put in their email and put in their phone number, and you send the invite there straight to them. Or if you do give an invitation, which I'm not against in any way, that's probably like the bare minimum, is just an invitation, not a save the date. That the invitation is the save the date for a destination wedding in my mind. So cut a save the date, just do an invitation, and in the invitation add just a little thing going, find us at, for us, it was like DougAndOmiInMexico.com, and here's your special code. And they click the code, that's their invitation, then that's how they RSVP. That in itself, no longer, no save the dates, no extra stuff with that. Programs for your wedding can be a distraction. They're not necessary. No one needs to know the order of time or order of what's happening next. They're just there and just paying attention. So cut that. And then if you're getting married outside and it's windy, that's a whole thing too, because you got the programs and they're sitting somewhere and they're blowing all over the place, or people trying to figure out what to do with them. Cut those. Menus, you don't need menus necessarily. I talked about this last week, but maybe not full on menus for every single person, but you can actually just put a couple on the table, or just have none and they get their food. That's happened too. It really doesn't, you don't have to have these things if you're trying to cut. Another alternative to Appy Couple is an Evite. I've seen people do an Evite. That's a little, you can do it. I would probably go Appy Couple first. Appy Couple's $40. An Evite can be free, but kind of like an Evite also is like bare. That's like bare minimum. So just know that there's like levels to all of this. And you can also, okay, so skippable. Go symbolic instead of getting legally married where you're getting married. You're cutting those fees, and depending on where you're getting married, if you go the legal route, then you have the fees associated with that, be it judge or translation fees, and then the certifications, and then if you need blood work, it can get more expensive. So that's an easy way to just cut that out, get married in your home state, and then just do the symbolic route, which is what we did. And if you're interested in more of that, leave a comment, let me know. I have a list of things, so that's definitely in the queue to come up to talk about symbolic versus legal. But that's an easy way to save a few dollars as well, a few coins. And then when it comes to welcome gifts, so welcome gifts, instead of going and doing it per person, do it per couple. Or in our case, what we did was per room. So for us, like, we did welcome boxes. Instead of giving one to each person, we did one actual box and said like two tequila bottles, two shot glasses, one itinerary, and then one of everything else. You share if you're doing like Pepto Bismols or candy. They share a bag of candy. Like, they share these things. It was a cute package for everybody for the people in the room to have. Now, like I said, we did do like two shot glasses, so we weren't crazy with it, but the number of boxes is immediately cut in half. The number of other items, some of them were cut in half as well, because it's highly unlikely that, two people are going to need alcohol. I think we might have done two Alka-Seltzers. But yeah, instead of having all these zillions of bags, we had them delivered to our guests. For us, that was an additional cost too, but it was $3 per room. That's not three. It was $3 per room, and totally worth it. So that's another way of, just consolidating your welcome gifts. Could definitely save money. Renting, rent the runway for your extra outfits. Same goes for your guests, encouraging them to do that. Adorn does that for jewelry as well. Tradesy, I save money. I have my Jimmy Choo wedding shoes. They're originally like $1,700. They were $7. Explore if you don't have your gown yet. So Stephanie, you don't have it. Sample sales, trunk shows, all of those are ways to definitely save lots of money. Follow and join the newsletters. If you like anything, any brand that you're into, or you think that you might want to deal with or have or purchase at some point, join their newsletters now, because they have all types of sales. They've got anniversaries. So like Revolve.com, if you guys love them, I'm so in love with Revolve. If you haven't heard of them, then Revolve.com, please go. But like right now, they're having a birthday sale, and everything is like 17% off because they're 17 years old. Stuff like that. You would never know that, but just join these email newsletters and get the sales and hop on them when they're there. Prime Day, Victoria's Secret has their thing. All these places have sales all the time, so join the newsletters. I told you about the new photographer. Skip cake. You don't have to have a cake. We did not have a cake. Now, we did add a churro cart, so that probably counts as a dessert option. But we did actually just have dessert for guests too. So having the whole cake, if a cake cutting ceremony is important to you, then sure you can do that. But going crazy about a cake for a destination wedding, I just, that's a way of cutting. So cut that. And then, so one of the really, really big things that I say all the time is more people, more money. So if you really, really want to cut, then just invite less people. Every single person is a chair, a meal, a full bar situation, is silverware, is a favor, is a, just is every single person. Like all of these things that add up are attached to people. So less people equals less money, and that means, as I always say, stop and don't, not stop, because I don't know that you are, but inviting people that you don't want at your wedding is just not a good idea, because nowadays the way travel works with Instagram, these people are coming to these weddings and we're getting surprised. So less people equals cheaper wedding. The end. And another way of saving money is not having a bridal party. So it's something to consider. Bear with me here. But bridal parties cost money. Your friends, like your actual bride friends, have to pay money. They're already coming, but then they have to buy their gown or their shoes or get their hair or their makeup. Or at the same time, you want to get them a gift. You want to get their makeup done, maybe, or you want to get whatever it is. You're having to pay for these things for them too, or you're thinking about an event for them, or having a rehearsal dinner for them. If you don't have any bridal party members, you don't have any expenses for them. So that is real. So that's that. um and look, I'm funny, bank fees. So things that we did not expect were bank fees. So bank fees do add up for us every single time, because when you have these vendors out of the country, they want to get paid. So the deposits cost money. So definitely you want to get a PayPal account. A lot of them will accept PayPal. That helps you with secure, like being secure with that. But you want to also make sure that you understand what your bank charges for bank wire transfers. So for us, it was $45 for each time. It's not, it sounds like it's not a lot, but it does add up when you've got all of these different vendors that you have to pay, and some of them want to be paid twice. Like they want to get paid a deposit now and then get paid later. So understanding what those bank fees are is really important. And then also, if your bank, some banks charge a percentage versus a flat rate. If they charge a percentage of the amount that you're transferring, consider talking to the vendor and paying them a portion. Like you're going to pay them half now and then the remaining when you're there, and then you end up going with cash. We did that as well with a lot of stuff, just to make sure that, one, it's a lot of money that's coming together, so we just paid them once we got to Mexico. So that's something to consider and to play with too. It's a way of saving money. If your bank does the percentages thing, then that's something. And the same goes for PayPal. PayPal charges a percentage sometimes too. Now, usually the percentages charge, this figure out with the vendor, kind of push them to be responsible for that, because that's for them. That's them receiving the money. So just see what you can do as far as that goes. Also, surprise for me was alterations. My gown was $4,000 and my alterations were $1,000. Now, I had a pretty extensive alterations, and that's, I'm going to talk about wedding dress, like traveling with your gown, myths, safety, alterations as well. So that's a whole other video, but that's something that crept up and I did not think about at all. And even more so, cleaning. You're dragging that gown, if you're driving it through sand or grass or wherever, the cleaning bill on that can get crazy too. So it depends on your gown. It's kind of one of those things like with alterations, where the more expensive your gown, that's not necessarily true with alterations, but with cleaning it, depending on the materials, it can cost a little bit more to clean it, depending if it's very delicate materials. So for me, the gown cleaning was expensive as well in my mind. I wasn't expecting that, and that counts towards it. One thing, I did get an additional question from, I didn't save it. I've just received it plenty of times, but it's kind of like, why are vendor fees so expensive? And one of the things that we did not consider with, perfect example, is our lighting. And we ended up having strings up top, and I feel like I talked about this on the first Destihour, but if you missed that, then you're about to catch it again. But the lighting, we went through two different people. So when you are comparing and kind of going back and forward, understand what you're really comparing and make sure that you're comparing the exact same thing. So what we did is like two of the exact same types of lights. One was more expensive than the other. So we're like, oh, we're not going to go with the more expensive. We're going to go with the cheaper one. The fine print that I don't even know it was even there, but it was something to understand, was the fact that the cheaper person was really literally just renting us the lights. The more expensive was the lights with setting them up and taking them down. We did not understand that, and that was a cost that we had to pay hundreds of dollars as soon as that jumped on us when we were in Mexico. So understand when you're comparing what you're comparing. And a lot of times the fees can be a little more expensive because you're not really getting what you're really being charged for. And this is my lighting vendor comparison. Cheaper, more expensive, but why is this more expensive? Because they're putting them up. We ended up actually, on a side note, going with the people who were more expensive because they ended up doing other stuff for us. Candle Boutique Mexico, they were absolutely amazing. But they did, he did agree to put up the other people's lights for us, and that included taking them down as well. So that works with, a lot of times when you're bringing your decor, make sure that your venue is on board with that and understands, because if they're not, they could end up trying to really tax you and charge you. A lot of people, the thing with the vendors, and before you choose your resort, I don't know how helpful this will be to everybody right now, because a lot of you have chosen your resorts already, but there's also a good group that have not. And your resort fee, like your outside vendor fees, really matter. So that's something that you want to understand quickly, because they can vary. It can be $100 or it could be $500. So they may try to, because they're trying to, the idea is all resorts have relationships with certain vendors. So they have their list of preferred vendors. Those vendors you're not going to have to pay anything extra for. But if you're bringing your own, some resorts are more lax with that and okay with it, and some other ones will really, really beat you over the head with the pricing. And that's just something to understand. So the outside vendor fees, you want to understand that before you choose your resort, and then just keeping that in mind at the same time. Some vendors will offset that also. So just let them know, like if you're already tied into a contract with your resort, then talk to your photographer or whoever you're trying, your DJ, and let them know, hey, I really want to bring you on, but they're charging me X amount of dollars. Is there any wiggle room? Can you play with me to make this work? And a lot of times they will help and work through that with you too. So don't just immediately feel like I can't bring one on. Play with it and see. So yes, that is that. And the other thing is, get quotes now. If you're interested in anything, get your quote now. And oftentimes they will tell you how long that, like, because prices increase. The idea is that prices increase. So for example, for us, we got married at the Blue Venado Beach Club. They gave us a quote. They had packages. And then once it was time, we booked with them. But then once it was time for our wedding a year and a half later, the fees had increased. They did honor that. So all places may not, but it's something to just be aware of, or just try to see if they will do that for you, because you may already be in love with XYZ and you're already booked, and they may work with you if you've already received that quote ahead of time. So right now, if you're looking at something, you're looking at a vendor, get a quote, find out how long this will be honored, and then make your decision based off that. Because I also don't want you to miss out on this vendor because they're quoting you now and then next year they're going to be more expensive and you could have booked earlier and they're not really honoring that. So that's something to be aware of too. Okay. All right. Now, yes. So I am going to bring up the budget spreadsheet, but I am bringing on a very special guest. So, hey, love. I need some help, you guys. So I'm bringing some help. Someone who knows and is aware of what happened. And we're going to go through this together. Do you hear me? Hello? Douglas? In the meantime, I'm going to pull this up. Okay.
You ready?
I am ready. We're ready. You guys get to meet my husband. I'm so excited for this moment. He's excited too. Come on. You can see yourself there. So
Okay.
Say hi.
Hi. I'm nervous.
Are you?
Yeah, I mean you're like a celebrity, so
Okay.
I've been waiting to get on this, get on this show a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm a celebrity.
Yep.
Only because of you.
That's not true.
There's nothing celebrity here. It's just a few of us talking about everything.
The camera?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
You're looking into the camera.
All right.
I can see you.
Can I just say two things?
Yes.
Because I was watching.
Okay.
In the back.
Please do.
Okay. So you mentioned very briefly that we saved $1,000 a month for 20 months, which is very true.
Okay.
And that we put all extra money, bonuses, tax returns, all that.
Yes.
You mentioned credit card, and I just want to be clear to people. There was a very, very small amount relative to our big budget that went on a credit card, right? Because you want to do this in a financially sound way.
Yes.
Of our $40,000 budget, it was less than $2,000, and that was stuff that came up unexpectedly. So, and you don't want to use any credit card if you can avoid it. So I would recommend to anybody out there, take your budget, whatever that is, take 5% of that and anticipate that's going to be sort of extra last minute stuff that comes up. So whatever your little cash reserve is, add 5% onto it. So you don't have to do like we did and use any credit card. We use a little bit of credit card.
We did.
But you don't want to use any.
Was that the emergency trip situation? Just a few things, or
no? So that was basically clothes, right? So last minute little shopping, preparing for your wedding, and then also expenses that happened while we were in Mexico. So some of our vendors we paid in cash.
Right.
Some of our things we knew were going to happen. We paid for in cash. We paid for like our champagne, but there was something like there was a secrets charge. There were things that came up.
Right.
And so just anticipate.
And we only had so much cash too.
We had like the exact amount of cash that we thought we needed, but there was another 5% of stuff that just came up. So keep that in mind as you move forward.
That's for you.
Hi. And the only other thing is, you also mentioned student loans really quickly. Please. Don't listen to my wife. Pay your student loans. We did not miss student loan payments.
We didn't miss student loan payments, but we could have. You could do like a forbearance or something
Pay your
and put
student
those
loans.
on hold.
That makes no financial sense.
That makes no. It doesn't.
Don't ever do that.
It doesn't.
Don't ever do that. The reality is, it was one of the best days of our lives. It was worth every penny that we spent. I wouldn't change anything. But we also did what made sense for us financially. Do what makes sense for you. Whatever that is. Do not miss bill payments, credit cards, student loans.
Pay your cell phone.
Lights.
pay your rent,
Pay
pay your
your
mortgage.
bills.
That is true, because you don't. That's true. Okay, I was being extra, and It was only a little bit. So ignore me in that space. But it is true, because you don't want to set yourself up. The idea is to not set yourself up for a whole bunch of drama and problems when you're coming back. You're supposed to be married. You're supposed to be happy, and you don't want to come home to past due notices or trying to catch up to anything.
And we did not come
so
home
that
to
is
any
true.
of that. Yes. And so when we came up with the $1,000 a month, that was calculating everything. We have a household budget,
right?
That's separate from the spreadsheet that she's about to show you.
That is another spreadsheet. That's a good one too.
Yeah. We have all of our monthly expenses broken down, and so we were able to look at that and calculate what sacrifices could we make to actually save responsibly, and we came up with that $1,000 number. So do what makes sense for your household.
That is true. See, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Isn't he great, guys? I'm just putting that one on because this one's about to go away.
Okay.
So we're bringing out the spreadsheet. We're going to go through line by line. Well, for the most part. And yes. So this. I'll try to bring you in a little bit.
Oh, don't worry about me.
Okay. So that's not helpful. Oh, hold on, y'all. Keep talking while I figure this out. Thanks. Okay. What else you got? How much cash did we bring?
We brought a lot. We brought a lot of cash, but that's because a lot of our vendors got paid in Mexico. So Omi mentioned the wire transfers. Definitely check your bank accounts. Some accounts don't have transfer fees. Some do. Most people's accounts do. So we definitely made a lot of wire transfers. I would say at least 6 that we made to various vendors in Mexico while we were still here in Pittsburgh. But those were mostly down payments. We actually had to make the rest of the payment when we got to Mexico. And so we had to take a lot of cash to account for that. So keep that in mind as well, because we thought that we would get special consideration because we were a married couple. We had all these bags that we thought we were going to take on the plane. And they said, no, sorry. And so we had to transfer a lot of cash from bag to bag because we didn't want...
we had split it, right? Or something. You kind of had some, I had some. Yeah, it was a whole thing.
Prepare to travel with a lot of cash because you got to pay your vendors, and they're most likely going to want cash. And you most likely are going to have international fees on your cards, your debit card, your credit card. So you don't want to use your card that much if you don't have to while you're abroad. It'll happen sometimes, but if you can pay your vendors in cash, take the cash and just be safe with it.
Yes. You also need a currency converter on your phone, like some form of an app. They have lots of them. I'll send one, but you just made me think about that too. Because while you're there, everything is, wherever you are, it's listed by that national currency. So you want to do that. Okay. Thank you, love.
You're welcome. This is a big deal. I'm on the Destihour.
You are the Destihour.
I've been waiting, y'all, for 3 years.
You want a sip? You gotta have a sip.
No, this is yours. No, I'm chilling.
Oh, come on, take a sip. No. He doesn't drink my drinks, y'all.
I've been waiting, though. I've been waiting for a long time.
He has. He's been waiting to meet you guys.
I'm the biggest fan of this show, so I've been waiting to get on here, but it's been a while.
Isn't his shirt cute? They can't. You got it. Oh. Isn't he cute? Are we cute?
All right, let's get
Okay.
Spreadsheet.
All right, spreadsheet. So, I have to make this bigger again because I don't do this right. All right, can you guys see this? Looks like you can. So, what we did, and I
think you could zoom it a little bit if they can't. If it's not big, you could zoom it on your screen, and that'll make it bigger for them.
I'm trying to make it to where I can see this whole thing. There we go. So I can see what's... That's a good amount. It's a good...
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Aw, we're so cute. Thank you, Inez. All right. So, yeah, I got to have him on officially. We've got some questions. Okay. So, we're going to get some groom questions and get him on officially. So, yes. All right. So, this is our spreadsheet and what we did. So, I'm going to blow it up a little bit. If I can. Nope. I'm not even going to try to. All right. So, we had the wedding grand total right here. Now, budgeted amount, actual amount, paid amount, and then remaining amount is how we did it. We also had the payment due date, and then the vendor name. I feel like I added that later. I don't know that that happened at that point. But those are like the most important things that you'll need. So wardrobe, oddly enough, is right at the top, which I thought was kind of funny. And this hotel room block deposit deduction, I'll explain that and why that's where it is in a minute. But we talked about everything. So full attire, your shoes, your dress, your if you're choosing a headpiece or veil, accessories, hair and makeup, all of that needs to go here. And what I did was kind of broke them up individually with your budgeted amount is what you're immediately going to fill this whole row down, and then as you move along with your planning you'll figure out what the actual amount is. So in this case, shoes, I thought I was going to pay $100, but then I came across the Jimmy Choos and they had to be bought, so 700. That's crazy, but it happened. So that's that. But same thing goes like the headpiece or veil. I was expecting 100, went to 171. So that's what we did. So you start off with your budgeted amount, and the full final total will end up here as you're adding them in. So Che's blue tux was 750, shoes about 200, cufflinks. So whatever's added, you add those things in there. So our full wardrobe total came here. Ceremony, the officiant.
I think it might be helpful for them as you go through to just call out everything in the category, things that they might not be thinking of. So, for your wardrobe, what did that consist of? What were all the line items?
So for my wardrobe, we had the dress, shoes, my headpiece, and I ended up with the veil. Accessories for me were earrings, bracelets, and that was it. That sounds right. And then hair and makeup was added to that because that's something that went on my body. That's a good idea. For you,
shout out to Ivory. She did a thing.
Shout out to Ivory. She's on. She says that. She says yeah.
I see. Hey.
Oh, okay. Groom attire. So you had your tux.
Yep.
You had your shoes.
Yep.
You had cufflinks.
I did.
What else did you have? Socks.
I think the bow tie probably was built into the tux cost. I can't remember.
I think so too.
But I had my shirt as well.
Oh, that was separate.
Which was purchased separately.
Yeah.
So.
And then, does travel count?
What do you mean?
So for we traveled to get your tux. Like, does that count towards the wedding budget?
It depends on the person, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, we traveled a bit to look for my tux. We went to DC. We went to New York. I don't think we included that in our budget.
Right.
If you anticipate having the flexibility to do that.
Yeah, I went to Atlanta.
You went to Atlanta to look for your dresses. So we didn't build that into our budget.
Right.
But that's a great point. If it's something you anticipate doing, you might want to think about building that in, because the New York and DC trips weren't crazy expensive because we drove, but something to
that
think
is
about.
Something, yeah. So that's another thing.
Yeah.
For the ceremony, we had an officiant. The site fee, we had our ceremony and our reception at the same place, Blue Venado Beach Club, so that's going to be blank for us. But if you had a ceremony in one space and the reception in another, then that's a space for that. But the officiant, we paid them. Blood test is kind of like if you decided to go with the legal, we did not need that. Marriage license, we paid for that here in Pennsylvania. The actual marriage with the justice of the peace, that was a separate cost as well. And then if we would have gotten married in Mexico, there was a space for translation / to legalize the birth certificate, and that should say marriage certificate, oddly enough. Actually, I think it's probably both, but I'll put marriage. And that's not how that works. For the reception, same situation. The venue was the same, so that cost will show up later. But table and chair, same thing. We didn't have to pay for that, but if you do, that goes there. Napkins, I had the custom made napkins from Aline Mayan. I've had a few questions about that, so I'm working to find out if she still makes them, and if so, I will let you guys know because I have received that question. The churro cart is what we decided to do instead of a cake. Basically, we hired a cart, so any additional things to add. And food and drinks is the big thing. So you'll see that number is relatively large because it also, our venue had us pay, we had to like spend a minimum of $3,000 to get it for the day, and we ended up clearly paying more between food and drink, so we didn't have to, so there was no space for the individual site fee because food, drinks, venue, all of that was included. Do you remember that?
I didn't remember that. But one of the things to note too, because I heard you mention earlier about the smaller the wedding, the cheaper the cost, which is true. Our wedding being smaller, we had 29 total people, including us, allowed us to spend a little bit more on the food
Mm-hmm.
and the champagne. So
Yeah.
champagne came with our
Package.
package. We didn't want the champagne that they provided, so we bought our own champagne when we got to Mexico. Shout out to Joyce, our wedding planner, who
Yes.
took us to go buy that. And then also the for the actual meal,
The midnight meal.
no, the meal,
Mm-hmm.
we added the lobster on
Oh, we did.
because we just had flexibility. So it's just something to think about. If you have less guests, it gives you more room in your budget that you can either save and for yourself, or you can spread it
Right.
out in other areas of the wedding.
That's true because we added that part. We added the lobster later at the end, and
Yeah.
the same thing. We were able to
Yeah.
play with the food and the drink more because we had less people. We knew
Yep.
what we.
Yep.
Um, and then we had a midnight meal. We adjusted that because it came with the package, came with the midnight
It
meal.
did. Yeah.
And what we did was we decided to add on a jerk chicken instead.
Yeah.
So that was that. And that's an additional fee. And then the champagne, I don't remember how much exactly that was. We did budget 500 though. That was original. I feel like it was at least 500.
I don't remember. I don't
Yeah.
remember, but
But we got a case for the weekend in general is what we did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We did.
So and then for floral, so you have your the bridal bouquet, a groom boutonniere if you decide to do that, and then whatever ceremony decor you choose, centerpieces, and then the setup and breakdown fee and tax. I talked about the setup and breakdown fee, and that's something that was added. Now this all was from the exact same vendor, so she broke it down for us, Moni Junko, and I just added it in there, and then it totaled itself up automatically. And then other things for the ceremony and reception, we added a few other things. So we had these little spheres outside. I'll add those pictures. And then the string lighting and flags at the top, all of that kind of stuff was additional. So I have that part there too. As far as stationery goes, our invitations, we went through Minted. So you have invitations. The wedding website isn't necessarily stationery, but it's kind of, it went there. Appy Couple. And postage was important, something to be aware of. You have to pay to send these invitations or whatever you're sending. The program we decided against. Place cards we did get. That's going to go towards the bottom. Table numbers, same thing. Thank you cards are important. It's something we didn't really think about, but we did end up getting those. And then we got all of the same things from the same person. So the menu, place cards, and table numbers all came from the same person. So instead of itemizing it, I threw them all together. And then the gifts. So there's, it says welcome at resort. I promise I have no idea what this was for, love. Do you know?
Welcome. Oh, probably the cost of having the meet and greet.
But it's not. That's down here. Welcome cocktail event for 324. I don't know what this is. I really don't know. I don't know if maybe I added it all up. I don't know, you guys. But so we'll ignore that line. But the actual welcome boxes, or whatever you choose, if you choose bags or whatever, the itinerary insert, and then candles, candy. We had delivery to each room, so we added that, and then we ended up having to purchase the tequila and the shot glasses, so that kind of stuff too. So anything related to your welcome and any gifts for anybody, all of that would go here. And then travel, of course. So the stay at Secrets, we did Tuesday to Tuesday flights. Your shuttle, we chose, our actual stay did include transportation through a shuttle that's like the shared shuttle. We opted to have a private transportation company that you found, Canada Transfers.
Okay.
You don't remember that?
I
Maybe.
We did a lot, so
We
I
did.
don't, I don't remember.
So we had a private shuttle, and then I ended up staying for the night before the wedding. I stayed. Was it our greeting? Nope, we didn't have to pay for that. Ivory asked, was it our greeting when we arrived to the resort as guests? Because Secrets ended up providing this full greeting area for our guests. We didn't even know that that happened, that we didn't have to pay for that. But thank you. I have no idea what it was for. Oh, but for the night before the wedding, because the resort and the venue were a little further away from each other, we decided for me to stay kind of in the middle, so I didn't have to travel as far, and then we didn't sleep together, so we got a little separate suite.
The night before.
Yeah, the night before.
Yeah.
That didn't.
It sounded
It
too
sounded
broad.
funny.
It sounded way too
Oh, we
broad.
didn't sleep together at
Yeah,
all.
just the night before.
Okay, all right. The night before.
Yeah.
So we got a bridal suite for Ivory to come and do the makeup and hair and to have a full shebang instead of it just being in the room. And then we also ended up coming there after the wedding too. They dropped us off. So we had a separate bridal suite that was at El Taj, and that was an additional cost as well. And then we had to pay for all of our travel toiletries, something I did not think about. And it doesn't even make sense because every time we travel, we need toiletries, everything. And I did not think about that. So that was a cost of something to be aware of too. Our activities, we had the welcome cocktail event on Thursday. And then we had the night on the town, which was us taking our guests and treating them to dinner in town, and then followed by drinking and partying in the street that we did not pay for. And then we opted to have beach cabanas as well. So on Secrets at the resort, you could get that. So I feel like this is becoming too detailed into our wedding. This is kind of like mine. Okay, anyway.
How many more? Is it a lot
I'm
more
almost
to go?
done. No, I'm almost done. I promise. Everybody. But we got, so any additional activities we threw here. And then the vendors. So our wedding planner, Joyce, our photographer, Shenko Photography. The DJ was.
Oh, I don't remember what they were called. But you can give them that information later.
Oh, right here. Plug in auto visual. I have it right there. Sorry, y'all. Yeah, but we also had to get a generator for the space because it was out in the jungle. They did not have a generator. You had to pay for that. So that also was added and they paid for that for us. And then we did hotel room blocks in advance. So what we did was we booked rooms in advance and then had our guests RSVP by putting their basically comping like just giving us them by
they make the deposit. So
thank you.
It's pretty common that you will reserve blocks by basically making your down payment for your guests, assuming that they all make those down payments and take those rooms that you reserve. You'll get that back.
Right. Yes. Thank you very much. So that was a thing. So that $2,500 is right there. Is actually really quick going back up. You'll see this here. This was us getting that money back. So I added that, and that ended up being deducted from our fee because we paid it, but it doesn't count as an actual charge because or a line item because we got that money back. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you want to budget for it because you'll have to pay it up front.
Right.
But hopefully you get it back.
Yes. And then another thing that we had was a complimentary room rebate. So what ended up happening was it's like with the resort, if you book X number of rooms and you get a rebate. So that's why a lot of people end up, couples will invite lots of people trying to get more money back. But Yeah, it varies. So for us, that ended up being what that happened. So I added that in there too because that deducted from our full travel. I'm pointing, but our full travel balance as well. So all of that was thought of.
Yeah, they will. In addition to like room rebates, like they might give you just money off on the cost of your wedding if you get married on the resort. We
Yes.
didn't get married on the resort, so none of those type
Yeah, we
of
missed all of
discounts
that. Yeah.
would have applied. But we were okay with that. It's just something to know as you're planning your wedding. If you book a certain number of people, they'll start they'll start discounting costs for the cost of the wedding if you get married on the resort.
Yeah, like some resorts will go if you have a minimum of, I don't know, if you can book 10 rooms, then you'll get your wedding will be free, or something like that, and then you'll just add pieces to that. So if that were the case, then that's where you would throw that number at. Another way of saving some money. And then guest transportation, we did take our guests, we paid for our guests to travel to um
The night
the night of
the night on the town and the wedding.
the night of the town and the wedding.
Yeah.
And another way of saving was by using the same people. So they just kind of gave us a discounted rate because we
Yeah.
used them 2 nights in a row.
Be on time because if you're late, they will charge you a fee because they have other bookings. So
Ooh.
be on time.
Did we get charged?
Yes, we did.
Did we?
I don't know why this is surprising.
I
to
did
you.
not. I did not know that.
Yes, yes.
How much?
I don't know.
So you had to pay cash?
Yeah.
Didn't know it.
For our night on the town,
When we were
undisclosed parties were late. We're not gonna put nobody
It
out
was
there.
me. I was late.
So yes, the next day for the actual wedding, they came to me very professionally and said,
Yeah.
"Hey, you guys were late. It's a certain amount for per van or whatever. It wasn't a lot. It might have been $50 or something like that. But
Was something.
they will charge you if you put them behind schedule.
Did not know that. Did not know that. That's awesome. Thank you for not telling me that. I wasn't late. I was late.
Nobody said you. Nobody
No,
mentioned
I was
you.
late. I was late. We were late. Me and I. That was a whole thing. That's actually in the blog. So if you look at like day
She done told on herself, y'all.
2, it was me. It was, and it didn't even make sense because we actually were like right around the corner from the
We
spot.
didn't know.
We didn't know. Whole thing. Look up on the maps and figure out where you're going to. You could save yourself money. And the another thing, if you guys have pets, the pet sitter is a thing. You need someone to watch your pet. So we chose Rover. At the time it was called Dog Vacay. But that is a line item because you're going to be gone, and the people who normally watch your dog, I'm assuming, are probably going to be at your wedding too. And if that's the case, then you need someone to do that. So for us, it was $450 plus a tip of some sort. But there's something about that. I'm surprised he didn't come out here because we're both on the couch and he normally does. But anyway. And then, okay, so there were some things that were not included in the budget. And
there were probably many things, love. I don't know. Do you want to go over each of these things? There's probably some. I think
we can do that.
There were some things. This isn't our complete budget because we never kind of went back after the fact and filled in the gaps. This is like 95% of the budget.
Yes.
So I think the biggest thing about this, love, and to give you all of the credit because I am not tech savvy at all. I do not know how to use Excel properly. The best thing about this spreadsheet, which I've heard she's giving to people, is it automatically calculates all this stuff.
Yes.
So you just plug in the numbers, the totals will generate for you, and that is fantastic. So use Excel, budget. We're big believers in budgeting, so
yes,
it'll save you some headaches and some time.
Well, thank you. So we will go through. I want to go. I have to, at this point, it's just the principal. I need to know what we're missing. So I'm going to go through this with him separately. But there's a whole thing. It's $4,600 worth of stuff that is not at the top that I realized that I was able to add into here.
That's why I feel like the budget is actually closer to
50. Yeah, you said 50. Yeah. And I think you're right. Because at this point, I've got $49,593. And we've got an additional 40. Basically, easy 5,000 at least. Yeah. So yes. So you guys, I'm going to copy this. You may also, I'm not sure if you can see, but I have like in this, it was the budget, and then I added the food and drink and menu choices, and then a seating chart and the wedding day timeline and welcome, like everything that we went through. I kept it all in one document. And this is not fully, it's Excel friendly, but it's Google Sheets.
Oh, sorry, not Excel.
No, it's cool, but Google Sheets is something that I feel like I want. That'll be a whole other thing too. But if you're using a Gmail account, you guys can share it and work on it together. Open it up on your phone. You can update it as you go. I was at the bank updating it sometimes, so I'm a huge Google Sheets fan. And so yes, so that is that. And yeah, so I think that I'm going to, so I'll get that. I'm going to zero it out and get that to you guys. We're back over here.
Okay. What's that one?
That's just something extra, just to have a little extras, just in case. And you couldn't see us there, so I had it there. I've got a few cameras, you guys. But thank you guys for being a part of this. If you have any questions, I know you guys will, but reach out, let me know. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to zero out this spreadsheet and then make it to where you guys can just plug and chug, put your stuff in there, and make it all gorgeous and pretty and get these budgets together. I appreciate you guys and love you guys. And what you got?
Can I big you up real quick?
I would love for you to big me up.
When we were putting our wedding together, the only resources we had were our friends who did this. There was nothing out there helping us walk through this. Yes. We did it all by ourselves.
We did.
Including this spreadsheet. And so it would have been phenomenal to have any of this stuff that my wife is doing, including this spreadsheet. She put that together on her own. So I know you all appreciate her very much and our fans, and I appreciate that. I just want it to be known that none of this existed, and I'm so proud of her for helping people through this process, because we didn't know what we were doing. I said $20,000 and not a penny more. I will not spend a penny more than $20,000.
Yes, you did.
I didn't know what I was talking about.
Yes, you did. You said we spent a multiple of 20.
I was very serious about that too.
You did mean that is true. Thank you, love. So, I'm the MVP. You guys are the MVP. Honestly, you guys keep me going. So I do appreciate that. Love you guys. You got anything else?
I got nothing.
You good? You coming back?
I would love to come back.
You want to get Sparky? Sparky wants to come.
No,
come here, Boot.
Oh,
come say hi. Get him. He wants to.
Oh. I can't get him. Spark, come here.
Sparky wants to say hi to. Sparky says hi, guys. Okay, he doesn't say hi. Say hi. No, look that way.
Sparky's camera shy.
Sparky doesn't care. Sparky wants to go out. So yes. So thank you guys. Seriously, you guys are the best. And happy Destihour. Please go onto the post and let me know what you guys want. If I don't hear anything from you guys by tomorrow, I'm just going to be adding. I have plenty of ideas and I'm fine with doing that. But I will just add what the next topics are for the rest of this month and be happy with it. So enjoy the rest of this week. If you have any other questions, let me know. And I love you guys. And until next time, I'm wishing you all the best week of your life and reminding you to have the time of your life, planning the best days of your life. Come on, Boo. You got to do the kiss.
What? No, I'm not.
Come on, do it.
I'm not doing that.
Say bye.
Peace, y'all.
Bye, guys.